Yo, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Four Wide Fantasy Football Podcast. We want to welcome back our huddle back to the podcast today. It is Thanksgiving week. We are on episode 11, fellas. Episode 11. Your hosts, Shed, Olu, Will, and Pat. We are here to share our fantasy football takes with you. We're so glad you're here with us. Guys, it is episode 11.
Oh, wow.
Can you believe it? Wow. Isn't this crazy?
Yeah.
But hey, welcome back. We have a great episode for you today. Week 11 recap, Week 12 preview. Is Thursday Night Football cursed? Here we go. Let's get into it, guys. Let's have our 1 minute shine. Guys. Let's get into it.
Yo, let's get through it.
Okay, all right. I'll go and start us off here. So it's great. It's a Thanksgiving theme, Thanksgiving weekend. I'm over here visiting my family. So usually see them about twice a year. Shout out to my parents. Shout out to my sister, her family, wife, brother-in-law, all those folks there. During this time of the year, we also take time to usually do family photos. We've been doing it for the last 14 years or so. So it's crazy, right? When you start doing it, your family's like 5 or 6 overall. Maybe some people are married, no kids. Now we've grown to 10. So our family is continuing to grow over the course of this time. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for them. And I think about Thanksgiving football and the Thanksgiving game. And the game that comes out to me was the Vikings versus the Cowboys when Moss went Moss on a Dallas Cowboy. 3 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 168 yards. Done.
Love it.
He was killing them. That's the game to remember on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, guys. I'm an Olu. We're doing introduction. Okay. So, what I'm grateful for this year, guys, I remember when fantasy season started. I was about to draft my team for my fantasy league. And I remember coming to you 3. I said, guys, I need help picking my team. I cannot not win this year. Do you guys remember that?
I remember that, Olu. I remember that very well.
I pay money. I have to win somehow. Guess what, guys? I'm 11-0 so far.
Ooh, okay.
I'm 11-0, guys.
I think this league is made up. Olu does not like.
No, guys, it's legit, and the legit ballers in there. They're good. So anyway, so I'm 11-0. So I'm grateful for that. And if we're talking about games I remember, one of my favorite Thanksgiving game was when the Patriots played Detroit, and there was a guy who was there and said, "Hey, Brady's a bomb. We're gonna whatever." And Brady tore this dude up, ruined his career because of that game. They went off, scored about 4 to 6 touchdowns. They went off in that Thanksgiving game. So I'm looking forward to Thursday. I'm grateful for you guys doing this podcast together. Grateful for my Dynasty Fantasy League, who I definitely keep them on their toes. I'm grateful for my other Dynasty, my other redraft Dynasty League. It's just been a great time of football. So I'm grateful.
All right, this fantasy season, I am very grateful for Rachaad White. My original dynasty team is trash, terrible. I traded away some key players a season or two too early, but Rachaad White has been a pleasant surprise. He's about the only thing giving my team value at RB6 in PPR. The man is not a good running back, as we've covered, but catches the ball and is excellent. Oh, what's up, Jillian? We got a surprise guest tonight. I'm thankful for my kids too. I'll say I'm thankful for my children this Thanksgiving season.
Hey, Jillian. She can't hear us.
Yeah, she can't hear you. So this is my daughter. So ultimately, we were at a Friendsgiving event. We're recording this on a Tuesday night. My wife and I were at a Friendsgiving event, and I had to leave a little early. So she said, take the kids, get them home, and get them to sleep. So I gave them each 2 melatonin gummies, and apparently it didn't work too well. So here's little mama, tired, in the basement talking about, Daddy, I was calling for you, but I'm here with you guys, so I hope I don't get in trouble. But, oh, man, my 1 minute of shine. So favorite Thanksgiving memory is I was actually born on Thanksgiving. Don't remember it, but my favorite Thanksgiving memory, birthday's on Monday. Don't forget it, y'all. I expect something good.
We won't forget.
But listen, The greatest Thanksgiving football moment of all time. Let's say it together. The butt fumble. Guys,
Oh,
remember?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot that was Thanksgiving. That was a Thanksgiving
Wow.
game.
That was ESPN's not top 10 play for a whole year. They had to retire it because nothing could ever top Mark Sanchez running into his own O-lineman. But anyways, guys, we could talk memories all day. We have a great episode for you guys.
Yes.
Of course, Will's going to have to start us up with a too long injury roundup. After that, we're going to talk about our biggest takeaways from week 11. Hopefully, it doesn't have to do with the injury roundup. Week 12, obviously, matchups to exploit, matchups to avoid. And then today, we are going to finish up our midseason rankings. We've already done quarterback, we've done running back, we've done wide receiver. So that's right. Today, we are finishing up our midseason rankings with tight ends, the shallow skill position of tight ends. And then we will top it all off, finish off the segment with our single game mock. Will, take us away, man.
All right, so everyone who is a fan of the NFL, everyone was watching knows that Week 11 was brutal for injuries, and it started in the very first game on Thursday night. So Mark Andrews gets tackled by Logan Thomas, that hip drop tackle from behind. Turns out he's got broken bone in his leg, and I think some torn ligaments as well. He's out for the season. That's going to be a long recovery. And then Joe Burrow on that one touchdown throw, he just dropped to the ground, said he felt something pop. Turns out it's a torn ligament in the wrist, also out for the season. Then we've got some day-to-day, week-to-week injuries. Devon Achane came back from IR, almost immediately got hurt again with the knee, so it looks like he's day-to-day, could miss this week's game. Kenneth Walker has that oblique injury. He's more week to week. It looks like he is not going to be playing this Thursday. That's very unlikely. Cooper Kupp with the ankle. He's day-to-day. There's a chance he could play this week, but you want to monitor that. He's had the hamstring, and now with the ankle, a couple different injuries. And then also Aaron Jones, strained MCL. Looks like he's week to week. Probably not playing this Thursday either on the short turnaround. Guys, any thoughts or any fantasy implications to add from those injuries week 11?
I mean, I definitely think with Mark Andrews out, that impacts Lamar to a certain degree, right? Because that's his go-to. Burrow obviously impacts Chase. Let's see how Chase does moving forward with the backup QB. That's going to be a huge devastation for the team, but also for those who have Chase.
It's a good test for Jamar, right? Because the great receivers produced with subpar quarterback play. I think about Larry Fitzgerald all those years on the Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins all those years on the Texans. They still produced. And so if Jamar can put up numbers with Jake Browning, then he cements himself with the elite status because that's what the great receivers have done.
Absolutely. I hate to say it. You guys know I do not like the person who says, I told you so. But Devon Achane, this is not – I am not wishing harm on the guy. I don't want to be right in this sense. But, I mean, can you count on a running back that is like 180 pounds?
Yeah, 5'9". Yep.
You can't bank on it. It's to me, it's not worth the investment. It's not worth – I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it.
Unfortunately, it's not surprising that he came back and immediately got injured.
Yeah,
it's really not.
I mean,
it was a rough week. It was a brutal week. Thursday Night Football's cursed. Let's move on, guys. Biggest takeaways. Biggest takeaway from week 11. An exciting week. An exciting week in week 11. Was it the last? It wasn't the last week of buys. We're still in the midst of bye weeks.
I think 13 is the last bye week. Week 13. Crazy. That's late.
Yeah, that's very late. But it was a good slate of games from Thursday till Monday. Good slate of games. What's your biggest takeaway from the week?
Well, you know what? I really wanted to touch on what happened last night with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles and the wide receiving core, but you know what? I'm not going to go there. It's pretty obvious. My go-to biggest takeaway is Jaylen Warren should not be splitting touches with Najee Harris. Moving forward, Jaylen Warren should be the full-time starter. Not sure why Najee is currently out-snapping him, but Warren has been so much more productive. Sunday, he had 145 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown. And with the 145 yards, Warren easily outgained not just Najee, but the rest of the offense as well. And he scored in 3 straight games. He's had over 100 yards or more from scrimmage. And the crazy thing about it too is that the last 4 games, Warren has outgained Najee 8.6 yards to 4.2 yards from scrimmage, right? So here's the thing. In order for the Steelers to be productive, they have to have the right players on the field at the right time. Warren's the Steelers' best offensive player, and he's not being used like that yet. He needs to be used. Now, with the firing of Matt Canada, that could change, right? But Warren needs to be the man.
So I think that's the thing. I think the only reason Najee was out there is because Matt Canada is not creative. He can't think about any other solution, aside from the plan he had established. I saw this crazy stat about Jaylen Warren just very quickly. He has a 44% forced missed tackle rate this season, which is more than double the next closest running back. The guy is shifty. He is elusive. 44% missed tackle rate. Unbelievable. So hopefully now the Steelers have seen the light of day with Canada gone, and they'll just give it all to Warren because that is their best shot at having some rhythm on offense.
Do you guys think the only reason why Najee is getting touches at this point is because of his draft stock?
Yes.
That and Canada just not being creative. Yeah.
Wow. Because Warren was undrafted, correct?
Undrafted rookie. It's just like Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler on the Chargers. Gordon, I think, was a first-round pick or early second-round pick, and Eckler was undrafted and then slowly took over. It's going to be the same thing in Pittsburgh. We're watching that on repeat right now.
This is why they don't pay quarter or running backs because
I know. It's true.
Of a Jaylen Warren. Yeah.
Wow. Let's keep it moving. Olu.
So for me, so we all watched the game between the Eagles and the Chiefs last night, and for sure we were all watching the preview to the Super Bowl. But to that, I say, nah, we're not, because the Texans are a legit contender, and we keep watching the Texans on February, the second week or third week of February. We could be watching the Texans. They are a legit contender. They're an amazing team. First of all, we got DeMeco Ryan, who has the defense playing like a DeMeco Ryan defense. Will Anderson is a baller. He's disruptive. It's a great defense. They give opposing defense, heck, like they take it to them. Now we have the offense who play a complementary football. CJ Stroud is hitting his stride. You guys see what I did there? Stroud is hitting his stride. Okay? No, he's playing the game. You have the rookie Tank Dell, who is phenomenal. Nico Collins, Noah Brown. They have weapons all over, and that opens things up for Singletary. And guess what? Damian Pierce is set to return this week. So now,
that doesn't help them.
He's not. He's been bad this year. I hope he improves.
Why, guys? Remember, I called Singletary going off this week, and it's not really because Singletary is this amazing player. It's because if you're playing the Texans' offense, you have to pay attention to their passing attack. It's a real threat. It's a big deal.
Sure.
So in order to pay attention to passing attack, you have to put the safeties. You have to take them up, and that opens up the lane, the running backs, and then your Pierce can now do his damage as opposed to the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year, they weren't as potent. Now, if you look at the remaining schedule, it's all winnable games, guys. They're playing the Jaguars in Houston. They already beat the Jaguars like by a huge margin in Jacksonville. Now they're playing in Texas, and sorry, and they're building momentum. Then after that, they played Broncos. That's a winnable game as well. Then after that, they're playing the Jets. That's a super winnable game. Then they're playing the Titans. That's a dub. The only one that might be questionable is Browns, but that's still a winnable game because yes, the Browns has a good defense, but their offense now is lackluster. Now they're playing the Titans again, and then the Colts. Guys, there's a chance they can go undefeated and make it to the postseason. I'm not calling that. Okay, I'm not saying they will be, but there's a chance that they will be undefeated. So what I'm saying to you guys is, Houston is going to be making noise in the postseason. Mark my words.
Well, first test comes this week versus Jacksonville.
But they
Let's
already
see.
beat Jacksonville in
Right,
Jacksonville.
but
Okay.
Jaguars are playing way better.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's see how they do.
and the Houston are playing trashly, right?
No,
Trashly, that's our new word. We coined a new phrase on the Four Wives podcast. Trashly.
that's a wide take.
Here, my biggest takeaway is real quick. It's simply that Saquon Barkley can make any quarterback look good. Daniel Jones should give Saquon Barkley 50% of the $160 million contract he got. Because the only reason he got that contract, the only reason he looked decent last season was because of Saquon. You look at his stats with Saquon, without Saquon, it's night and day. And what have we seen the last 2 weeks? Tommy DeVito is looking like a legit quarterback. Had multiple scores last Sunday. I think he had like 25 fantasy points from the quarterback position. But Saquon picked up the steam. I mean, he was the one carrying that offense, but the quarterback gets the stats, the yards, the touchdowns. And I'm just impressed by Saquon Barkley. He can, when he's healthy and he's out there, he can make any quarterback look competent. And he is the reason Daniel Jones has $160 million coming into his bank account.
Daniel Jones robbed the New York Football
Yes,
Giants.
he
That's
did.
what this is.
The New York Football
Tommy
Giants
DeVito
robbed themselves. Like they robbed themselves.
They did. They robbed themselves.
robbed themselves. Yeah, it's a dysfunctional organization. You know, my big take. I'm becoming a believer in Brock Purdy, guys. I'm not gonna lie. He is not irrelevant in the NFL. Like, let's just be honest. I mean, I think they keep the game relatively simple for him, but from a fantasy football perspective, the guy, I think he throws multiple touchdowns most weeks. Like
Right.
he's doing it. He's doing it. San Francisco's winning. He's producing. I think we're going to see Mr. Irrelevant get a second contract, which is crazy to think.
Yes.
Crazy to think. He did it his first year. He's going to do it this year. I'm a believer at this point in time in Brock Purdy. It's wild for me to say that.
He is the perfect quarterback for their system. He plays to perfection in that system, does what Shanahan wants, and it works. It just works.
Yeah.
Well, let's move ahead. Let's move ahead, guys. Week 12. Oh, wait, you want to say something?
Yeah. I mean, he's good. He's good. I mean, he's good for what he's been asked to do. But I will say, you can't really get a measure of a quarterback when everyone around him are literally top 3 in their respective positions. So I can't really give him that yet, unless it's like literally everybody's top 3. You know, the quarterback is top 3, the tight end's top 3, the receivers is like top 3. He has literally the best top 3 weapons in the league. He has 2 of them as weapons. So I can't really say, wow, he's a baller.
Yeah, but again, though, those guys aren't going anywhere next year. So he'll continue to produce.
Right.
They'll continue to, and that defense is great. They're going to continue to win, and he'll continue to produce. So from a fantasy football perspective, is he as talented? Am I saying he's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? No, not at all. But he'll get the job done, and he'll produce points.
Yeah. I mean, they have the horses for it, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's move on, guys. Let's look ahead. Let's talk about, as my daughter is struggling because she's like, Daddy, please.
Yeah.
Jillian, man, this is my 5-year-old. Love this child. She is a strong-willed woman.
Reality of fatherhood comes before fantasy football.
Yeah, that's right. Let's look ahead to week 12, guys. Matchups to exploit. Let's talk about it, guys. Shed, why don't you start us off?
So my matchup to exploit is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs versus the Green Bay Packers. Gibbs is coming into his own. We all know he was good, right? We all saw that first game. We saw the explosion. But when Montgomery went down when he was out, Detroit used him to his capacity. The last 4 games, he's averaged about 95 yards, at least 95 yards, offensive yards from scrimmage, and 5 touchdowns, giving you the last 4 games roughly about 32 fantasy points. So he's legit. He's up there. This number 12 overall pick, he continues to be very comfortable with each game. He scored a touchdown in the last 4 games, and he's actually tied Kevin Jones and the great Barry Sanders for the longest streak by a Detroit rookie. Start Gibbs. He will continue to be a solid option for fantasy managers, a strong RB1 in his week against Green Bay Packers. He is your man.
Mm, Okay. I'll go with matchup to exploit. Believe it or not, I'll go with Tommy DeVito. Okay. So the reason why I'm going with Tommy DeVito, last week when he played the Washington Commanders, he had a really, really good game. Okay. He found different receivers for 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. This is a Giants team that has not seen any form of offense in the last 10 weeks. Okay. So he found that. And Washington Commanders is a relatively good defense. It's not a slouch defense. Now you're actually going against a slouch defense in the Bill Belichick coached Patriots. Okay. And I expect him to have a really good game against them. I really want them to have a good game against them, but I expect him to, because the defense is reeling. It's reeling. They've lost their 2 best players. They've lost confidence. The offense is going to sputter out of control. Whoever they put there, Daniel Jones, Zach Bayless, or whatever his name is, and there's a wild card they might have. They might have Malik Cunningham. They're just not saying it, but they might have him in the lineup. So what I'm trying to say is that offense is gonna turn the ball over and give up plays and give that Tommy DeVito more opportunities to make plays. And I think they found a rhythm last week, and they will capitalize on that. And I was telling Matt this. I expect the Giants to win because he greatly underestimates how bad the New England Patriots is. So I'm expecting a really good game from Tommy DeVito. So if you're looking for a spot, if you're looking for a quarterback and you can't find one, your quarterback is on bye, you probably want to pick him up.
And just for clarification, it's Tommy DeVito versus New England, right? Because New England. Okay, make sure New England.
Yeah. So come to this podcast for your flaming hot takes. Last week we told you to sit Josh Allen. This week we tell you to start Tommy DeVito. You never know what to expect listening to this start-sit segment, but mine is a bit more of an obvious choice, but not a guy who you may have automatically had in your lineups this season. I'm going to say start Tony Pollard with confidence against the Washington Commanders on Thursday. He finally took off last week. Against the Panthers, he had 18 PPR points, scored a touchdown for the first time since week 1. But I think at this point in the season, Tony Pollard is playing for a contract because he's on the franchise tag right now. He does not have any commitments after this year. He has to prove to the Cowboys that he can be the guy for 2 to 3 more seasons. And this Thursday primetime matchup, the Commanders have a bad defense. We just saw them exploited by the Giants last week. Tony Pollard is in a prime position to go off this week against the Commanders. He's got to prove himself, and he will against a weak defense.
Woo! Tony Pollard.
He's back. He is back.
You've been wanting him to come alive. He was your top running back at the beginning of the year, wasn't he?
My hot take was he would finish the year as the RB1. There's still time, Tony. Still time. I just need you to average about 50 points.
Stick with me, Tony. Stick with me.
Just 50 points a week for the rest of the season, and we can still do this.
My matchup to exploit, I was between a lot of different guys. Honestly, I really like... Silently, I like what Brian Robinson has been doing lately. He's getting a lot more involved in the pass game.
Yes.
However, the guy I want to talk about is, do you know which running back has scored 9 touchdowns over the last 5 weeks?
I do. The Gus Bus. Yes?
Bro, Gus Edwards. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The man has
automatic
scored 9 touchdowns. The Ravens, I don't think they care about fantasy football because Lamar Jackson could be an MVP who's killing your fantasy lineups right now. He's doing that to mine. But y'all, Gus Edwards is balling, man.
Yeah.
And this week they have the Chargers, which for some reason, every time the Chargers play against somebody, it is a high-scoring game, or the over-under is high. And I think Sunday Night Football, yet again, Ravens-Chargers could be a high-scoring game. Gus Edwards, dare I say he gets in the end zone twice? The Ravens are moving down the field, and when they get in the 5, it is not Lamar running it in. It is Gus Edwards. He's getting the goal line carries, in the red zone carries. Gus Edwards is balling. I would get him in your lineup because these primetime games have been awesome. Some of the Sunday night games been awesome for fantasy football. So I say Gus Edwards. He's my matchup to exploit. Get him in your lineup. What do you guys think?
That's an interesting take, right? Because that stat is, what'd you say, 9 touchdowns in 4 games, 5 games?
9 touchdowns in 5 games.
Like, okay,
and he's scoring every game. It's not like he missed a game without a touchdown.
Right. So it's 5 games. The Ravens have seen it. They have confidence in him moving forward. They know when we get on a goal line, give the ball to Edwards. So I can see that moving forward, him being a huge fantasy upside moving forward. So that's crazy to think about. But I think the Ravens' confidence are in Gus Edwards.
And one thing I'll add is the Ravens are not a team that generates explosive plays usually, right? Most of their drives is they're kind of going down the field 5, 10, 15 yards. So they're going to end up with a 1st and goal at some point. They're not going to be scoring from 20, 30 yards out. And that's prime Gus Edwards territory. That's why he keeps doing this. He's the only one that they give the ball to in the red zone. And now with Andrews out, there's no one to throw to in the red zone. So they're just going to be running it straight to Gus every time. It's a good take.
I was going to say matchup to exploit would be the New England Patriots defense because they're guaranteed to get 6 sacks against the Giants. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Everyone is getting 5 to 10 sacks against the Giants. They can't block anybody. Let's move on, guys. Matchup to avoid. Let's go matchup to avoid. Let's warn our listeners not to start these guys. Shed, you're first, man.
So this is interesting, right? So tread lightly. Don't start Sam Howell versus the Cowboys defense. Yes, Howell leads the league in passing yards, surprisingly, right? He leads the league in passing yards, but he also leads the league. He's tied with Josh Allen in interceptions. He leads the league in interception. One thing the Cowboys are really good at is turnovers and taking the ball away. They are top 10 in turnovers and top 10 in sacks, which doesn't fare well for him. And one thing Sam Howell has not been good at recently is taking care of the ball and giving up the ball. Howell has had a game where he's had 3 interceptions and a game he's had 4 interceptions. So against the Cowboys, I feel like Sam Howell will have one of those multiple turnover games again. Like I said, tread lightly in this matchup and be really hesitant starting Howell because I can see this being a 1 touchdown, 3 interception game.
Wow.
The Commanders are so bad. They're bad.
Yeah. Matchup to exploit. I would say just
avoid. Matchup to avoid.
Avoid, yeah.
Avoid. Yeah, matchup to avoid. I would say Josh Jacob, which is surprising because he's one of my top 10 running backs in the ranking we did. But playing the Chiefs defense is going to be a very tall task, especially with Chris Jones and that lineup and a bunch of other guys. They're playing out of their mind. It took DeAndre Swift, and the best offensive line in the league, all their will to really get some runs going. So I think the Raiders are going to have a tough time running the ball or passing the ball for that matter. So I mean, it's going to be a low. It's going to be a blowout. I suspect it to be a blowout, and they have to abandon the run at some point. So it's going to be a really bad game for Josh Jacob. So you might want to say that.
The Chiefs have this is probably the best defense we've seen from the Chiefs in the last couple of years.
And unfortunately, the offense can't keep up. They're playing bad. So.
Well, it's the receivers. I mean, they lead the league in drops.
Okay.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yep.
It falls on my home. He's the leader, though.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
We're not. No. Wait, don't go there. Don't go there right now. Don't do it.
Mahomes can't throw the ball and catch the ball. Like, they
Yeah,
have 26
Don't.
drops.
We're gonna derail this whole thing if we go down there. Hold on, let me just get into mine. Then I'll save us here. Matchup to avoid this week. I'm gonna say on the first ever Black Friday NFL game, Friday afternoon. Avoid Raheem Mostert against the New York Jets. It's because of the matchup. The Jets still have an elite defense, and I'm gonna put a little something else out there. They finally decided to sit Zach Wilson. I believe that's going to give new life to the entire team. They're sick and tired of it, of not scoring a touchdown. What did they go, like 11 quarters, 12 quarters of play without an offensive touchdown at one point? I think the whole team's sick of it. They don't care who it is. Tim Boyle, I don't care. Just get anyone else in there besides Zach Wilson. They're going to have new life, fresh spirit about them, and I think they'll be able to shut down the Miami running game. It's going to only be Mostert, no A-chain most likely. Miami's going to beat them still through the air, but Mostert's not going to have a good game this week. I think you should avoid him. Don't expect the numbers you've been seeing from him this season on this Black Friday game.
So
go for it, Shed. You can jump in first.
No. So it's interesting, right? Because we talked earlier in the year, what's up with these 30-something, these veteran guys putting up numbers, and things have kind of fallen back down to the median, right? Like Mostert isn't like what he used to be. Thielen isn't what he used to be, right? So you kind of see them slowly leveling off.
Keenan Allen, though. Keenan Allen is actually getting better as the season goes along. He had like a 47-point fantasy performance 2 weeks ago. Crazy.
That guy is amazing. All right, Matt, what you got?
Okay, so there's actually a lot of I don't know if this is the right move to make, guys, but I'm gonna have to. I want some clickbait here. So there's a lot of people I want to say.
All right.
Don't start him. There's a lot of people like. For instance, I want to say don't start Isaiah Likely. Yes, he's a streaming option for tight end. People want to jump in. He's athletic. I want to say him. I'm not going to. I want to say one of my favorite young running backs, Zach Charbonnet. I think he's going to get a lot more carries. He's trending in the right direction, but they're playing San Francisco, so I'm like, maybe don't start him. But you know what? Guys, I'm going to do it. This is what I was going to say. Olu knows what I'm going to say. I was going to say him last week, but I did not want to be wrong. So this week, I'm going to say it. Do not start Stephon Diggs, okay?
Oh.
There is something wrong. There is something wrong with Buffalo. Something is wrong with them. Stephon Diggs, the last 2 weeks, has stunk. He has not been good. I don't know if it's tension, drama, attitudes, whatever it is. Something is going wrong with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. And the last 2 weeks, he's only had 7 catches for 61 yards and no touchdowns.
Terrible.
He is a superstar. Now, obviously, we just saw A.J. Brown get 1 catch for 8 yards, okay? That's an anomaly. But what is going on with Stephon Diggs, I think it's more than just an anomaly. I think there's something terribly wrong with Buffalo, and I would say and the reason why I don't want to say this is because I think there's guys who are matchup proof. I think there are guys who you start, regardless to what the media says. And Stephon Diggs is that talented, and Buffalo is that explosive. But the last 2 weeks have not been great for him. This week they're playing against Philly, which has a pretty good defense. And so I would say Stephon Diggs is my matchup to avoid. And I know I'm going to get hammered for this one, but
you will.
This has not been good the last few weeks.
All right, I just have one question on that. So the Bills, are the Bills 6-5 right now? They haven't had a bye yet? I think so, right? Because they were 5-4, then they lost to the Broncos, and then they won. So they're 6-5. And they're playing the Eagles. Yeah, that's a big matchup. The thing about the Eagles, as good as their defense is, they do not have a good pass defense.
Their pass defense is not as good as it was last year. That's true.
No, it's not good. And Darius Slay is aging quickly. He got cooked by Rashee Rice.
Bro, he has not been good. He has
No.
not been good.
So that's the only thing is that it's a plus matchup. But you're saying that the chemistry issues, the attitude issues, whatever, are so bad that even in a plus matchup, he's going to have his third bad week in a row. That's the
Yeah, I
bold
think
prediction.
that's my bold. It's at Philly.
Yeah. Tough place
And
to play.
I mean,
Tough place to play. They're best record in the NFL.
it's a gritty place to play. Philly's pass defense, yes, KC had 5 drops, but nobody went off in KC. And, you know, it's Stephon Diggs has played against the Jets and the Broncos, the Broncos seem to have a decent defense. The Jets have a good defense. I think Philly, can I change my answer to Garrett Wilson, guys?
No.
Really, but
It's written in stone now. Can't be changed.
Just change my answer. Let's go back on all that. I changed my answer to Garrett Wilson. No, but Stephon Diggs, watch him do great now because I picked him to avoid. But anyway, does anyone else want to chime in on that? That's a pretty hot take, guys. I mean, I'm if not, we'll move forward.
So it's not as crazy as you think. I don't want to say Diggs is throwing games per se or whatever.
Not at all.
But there's definitely some chemistry issues, some pouting. He's ready to be traded. Same thing happened in Minnesota, right? He got an attitude. He got upset. They end up trading him. Same thing happened and then he ended up getting a big contract. His contract is almost up. He's getting upset. He's looking to get potentially traded again. So it's not crazy to think that, but Philly's defense can be had. That's the thing is that doing the research on Philly's defense, their pass defense is not good at all. So
not that good. It's not as good as it was last year. So
and then Diggs is one of the guys that always gets targets. But to your point, like the last 2 games, he's been horrible. It hasn't been Diggs, but Josh Allen is feeding him because he wants him to stay. He wants him to be happy. So everything goes his way, right? So, but yeah,
does it though? He has taken a massive drop in targets. Last week he had 8. The week before that he had 5. Yeah. Compare that to all the weeks before that where he was getting over 10 targets a game.
Double digit. Yep.
And he's not getting that now. You know, I don't know what it is, but Buffalo has yeah, man. That's my thought. You know, I want to say Garrett Wilson now that I'm talking about it, but I want to be bold. You got to be bold, guys. Right, Olu. You gotta have bold takes, right?
You got
go
to
bold, go bold or go home,
guys. How about we move on to we'll finish up our midseason rankings, okay? As in, if the season were to start right now, we are going to give you the top 10 tight ends for the rest of the week. And obviously, we do not have Mark Andrews on this list, given his recent injury. That could be a season ender. But Shed, give my theme music. All right, what we're going to do is we are going to start at number 1, and we are going to go down to number 10. Number 1 may be a surprise. But we at the 4 Wide Fantasy Football Podcast do not have Travis Kelce at number 1. Let's get TJ Hockenson there. TJ Hockenson, he is number 1 on our list. We'll share why in a minute. After that, then we have to put Taylor Swift's new boyfriend, Travis Kelce. The guy continues to produce and produce and produce. At number 3, dare I say, we have a rookie tight end at number 3, Sam Laporta, the guy who may be your league winner when you picked him up off of waivers. And number 4, George Kittle, not too exciting. Number 5, this could be a surprise to many people, Trey McBride. Number 6, another rookie, Dalton Kincaid. Number 7, Dalton Schultz. I don't know who this guy's name is, Dalton. It's going to be good tight ends. And number 8, Nick Ferguson. How about that, guy? Number 9, Cole Kmet. And at number 10, the man that I despise the most in the entire NFL, Evan Ingram. That rounds out our top 10. Hockenson, Kelce, Laporta, Kittle, McBride, Kincaid, Schultz, Ferguson, Kmet, and Ingram. Guys, at number 1, we have T.J. Hockenson. Ever since coming over to Minnesota, he has been lights out.
It's true.
Now, Justin Jefferson should be coming back any week now. Will we see a dip in Hawkinson's production? We still have him at number 1. Shed and Olu, each of you guys put Hawk at number 1.
Absolutely.
Speak to why you think he is the best tight end in fantasy football going forward.
I feel like he's had the best year of the tight end so far, and they're really using, because when he was playing for Detroit, I didn't get his draft pick where he was picked in the draft with Detroit. I'm like, but this guy's not all that what they said he is. But now, ever since going to Minnesota, he's hit his stride. They're using him well. He's catching touchdowns. He's like a touchdown machine, catching balls, catching yards, catching in the middle. And I think it's continue moving forward. He's especially with Justin Jefferson out the lineup, and he's not showing any sign of coming back anytime soon. They're gonna keep using him, and I expect them to keep going off. He's having an amazing season. He's having the best season of a tight end so far.
I would even add that his value will even go up even more because you have Joshua Dobbs there, and it's going to be his security blanket even more so now. So Jefferson or not, and I'm not sure the connection with Jefferson and Dobbs, but when you have a guy like Hawkinson who can secure the ball, who can give you dominance, he's going to be a quarterback's best friend.
Yeah.
Hawkinson's career. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so I had Kelsey at number 1. The only way I can see Hawkinson being number 1 the rest of this year from here on out is because of Kelsey's health. He is obviously not healthy. It's like every single game he's limping to the sideline. Right, multiple times. He's not himself. And yeah, it's true. The Dobbs Hawkinson connection has been almost unstoppable. So I don't know. I think it's going to depend on if the Vikings can pick up a few more wins and feel like they're a playoff team, then they will push Justin Jefferson to play. But if they get eliminated from playoff contention, JJ's not coming back, and then Hawkinson's just going to get all that volume. So, yeah, there's a very real world where he is far and away the number 1 tight end the rest of the year.
His career has been textbook. I mean, tight ends break out usually in the 3rd year. He broke out last year. This year, he's caught his stride. The game has slowed down. He's playing excellent football. I mean, he wasn't my number 1. He was my number 2, but I could easily see him finishing the year at number 1. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. At number 2, we had Travis Kelce. Now, Will and I each had him at 1. Olu had him at number 3. Whoa. I think it's because Olu is a hater. That's why. Olu, why do you have him at number 3?
Again, you guys know I've been correct so many times this season.
Oh my God. That's why he's in first.
And this is just another one I'm corrected. Like you guys just literally mentioned moments ago that Travis Kelce is not all right. Well, again, that's his business, but he's not all right. Like each time he goes to the sideline, he's affecting his gameplay. You can see this guy's Travis Kelce is dropping balls in the crucial moments. That says a lot, whether the pain is taken away from his concentration or whatever it is. The point is, he might not even hit 1,000 yards this year. In the last 4 seasons, he's been 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards. He's been a touchdown machine. But this year, he's been slowed down. He's been slowed down a lot. So Travis Kelce's not having the best year. So we have 2 other tight ends who are just having a better year than he is. Hawkinson, how can you have Travis Kelce higher than Hawkinson in this year? When we're looking at what we're looking at and we're seeing the stats, he's not having a better year than Hawkinson. He's definitely not having a better year than John Kittle. So that's why I was kind enough from the kindness of my heart. You know, it's the season. You know, Christmas is coming. First we have a Thanksgiving. Is the season Thanksgiving? So I graciously
your notes, Olu.
Handed him the third position because I just cannot put him ahead of Hawkinson and Kittle this year. That's just
so Kelce, to me, Kelsey's still my number 1.
How?
Because here's why.
No, it's a good reason. It's a good reason.
Here's why. I believe Kelsey is still the number 1 tight end because he plays tight end for the best quarterback in the NFL.
Okay.
He is the only reliable pass catcher
That's
for the
it.
best quarterback in the NFL.
That's it.
And let's not forget, Kansas City can still put up points with almost anybody in the NFL. I still believe that because of the presence of Patrick Mahomes. He's pretty much the check down receiver. What he's going to do is he's going to run his 8-yard hitch, turn around in the middle of the field, find a soft zone, turn around, catch the ball, run a little 4 or 5 yards after the catch. He will continue to do that. And as the season winds down, what's going to happen is Kansas City is playing for a seed. They want to be number 1 or number 2. They want the bye. And what's going to happen? He's going to continue to go to Kelsey more and more and more. I think we're going to see his number of targets go up as the season goes on, and Patrick Mahomes is going to look his way. That's his security blanket. The man still scores touchdowns. I'm going Travis Kelce for number
Can I
1.
ask you a question? So, do you think the Kansas City offense has taken a step back this year?
Yeah, I think they have. But hold on. But now you're saying, have they taken a step back? We're also talking about the team that won the Super Bowl last year. So
Right,
even
right.
if they take a step back, they're still better than 90% of the other offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, and we all know the stats behind. Once you win the Super Bowl, there usually is a regression period. So perhaps this is their regression. You just said moments ago that he's hurt, right? So you cannot expect a team is taking a step back, a team that has lost its offensive coordinator from last year, because they did lose their Eric Bieniemy. Say what you will, he was a guy that held people accountable. We know that about him. They don't have it anymore. So perhaps that element of accountability is gone, and we see him drop balls more than we ever have this year. If we've seen him, number one, we've seen him being wobbled and hurt. So and then he's then back on the romance story that's taking him to places like Argentina, that's taking him place all over the country. So he has a lot going on. So it's okay. And he's 34 years old. He has a podcast. He has things going on. It's okay if he takes a step back. If a 34-year-old quarterback tight end takes a step back, that's okay. Okay.
Let's keep it moving. Number 3, we had Sam Laporta. This is a juicy one.
Was that
This is a juicy one.
Was that
Now,
the first time we made a Taylor Swift reference?
Wait, what's that?
Was that the first Taylor Swift reference we've made in our podcast?
I don't know, but please let it be
No,
the last. Please let it be the last.
All right, let's move
Sam
on.
Laporta was number 3. Shed just typed in the chat, we don't have to go into depth on all 10. So we'll try to tighten it up for our listeners. But Olu, you had him at 5. You were the lowest on Sam Laporta. You're the biggest hater. You seem to be the biggest hater on a lot of people, but I had him at number 3. Why don't we just let Olu? Why don't you talk about this? Because you were the lowest on him. Actually, Shed, myself, and Will all had Laporta at 3, whereas Olu,
Where he should be.
Olu, why do you think he's at 5? Why do you have him lower?
Number one, Kid is playing better. Dr. is playing better. Travis Kelce is playing better. Who did I have a 4? Who was it for?
Schultz.
Yeah, sure. Oh, yes. Yo, guys. All right. Number one, we're not going to put him ahead of Travis Kelce. We agree on that, right? We're not going to put him ahead of...
we did. we have.
We did. Not ahead of Kelce. We're not going to have him ahead of Hawkinson. And I think Judge Kittle is having a great year this year. So I would not put him ahead of the third best tight end in the league. So now, Shorts. Now, so we can say, okay, Shorts.
Well, wait, hold on. We're not talking about Schultz. We're talking about Laporta.
Yeah, I'm telling you who I have ahead of him. So we have to.
We'll get more into Schultz when we get to his ranking.
All right. So Laporta is having a great rookie year. He's having a great year. They utilize him in a great passing offense, and I'm sure they're going to keep looking into it. He's having a great year. The only difference is I just could not put him ahead of those 4 people I've put. That's just it. It's just simple math.
Sure.
I'm not hating on him. He's a great player. I love him. He's a great guy. He's a great player.
I think it's amazing that we're seeing a rookie tight end be this productive this early in his career. I like it. The trajectory is good. Yeah. If you have him in Dynasty, hold on to it.
There's no hate there. So,
Yeah. Let's keep it moving. Number 4, we had George Kittle. I was actually I was the lowest on him. I had him at 6. whereas you guys had him much higher than me. Olu had him at 2.
Unless somebody
Shen
else.
had him at 4. Will had him at 4, but I had him at 6. And I'll just speak to that really quick. Obviously, we want to hype the guy up for why we had him on the list. And I think Kittle is exceptional. I think he's very talented. I really do. I just don't think he's as reliable in that offense. He's as volatile as Bitcoin. Some games he has 3 touchdowns. Other games he has 3 targets. So, I mean, I think George Kittle, yes, I talked about Purdy. I think Purdy's been great, but George Kittle is a good football player. I just don't think he gets the volume and the consistency that some of these other guys get in their offense. But he gives you those spike weeks. He's one of the reasons that many people won their fantasy leagues last year at the end of the year because he had an incredible, week 17 or something like that. But he's also had games where he gets, no catch. I think he had a game this year where he had, maybe 1 catch or no catches or something like that.
Yeah, 1 target. Yeah, 1 catch. Yeah.
Right. And so that's why he's so volatile, because he'll have games like he's had the last 2 games where he's had touchdowns in each game and almost 100 yards each game. But then you go back to week 6, my man had 1 catch for 1 yard. Week 4, 1 catch for 9 yards. And it's it's the consistency a problem. That's why I had him lower. But I think he's talented. He's definitely as talented.
I got to say real quick on Kittle, because I just looked this up. He has been actually playing way better than I thought. So since week 7, right, he had 18 points, 29 points, 22, 26 in PPR. So that's actually way better than I thought. The question, though, is you've got Ayuk, you've got Debo, you've got McCaffrey all getting targets. And so Kittle's not the go-to guy. Even the way Laporta is, right? Laporta is like their second or third receiving option on the Lions because Amon-Ra is the only reliable receiver. Gibbs gets a little bit of that out of the backfield. But Kittle, it's just a loaded offense. And so he's been on a tear the last 4 games.
Good.
But that's not normal. That is not normal for him. So that's where the question mark is.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, I said, Will, that's a good point. You said that's not normal. Matt, I was just like you. I was like, Kittle's not doing well. But then, like Will said, I did research. I saw the last 4 games. He's been killing it.
He's balling.
But then to Will's point back again, that that's not normal and there are other targets. But then again, I could argue that in the last 4 games, well, no, because those targets weren't out there. They were hurt. Right, the last couple of games. So maybe that kind of boosted
it. Ayuk's been there. McCaffrey's been there.
Debo hasn't, right?
Debo, is he really a target? Is he really an option? Is he really an option?
Okay, so here's my thing. I'm really confused of why you guys are really having him so low. Do you know he's second in yards among tight ends? He's second in yards among tight ends.
After who? Who's number 1, Olu?
Huh?
Who's number 1?
And Hutchinson is.
Oh, really?
So not second in yards in tight end. He's also second in touchdown among tight ends. So I don't understand why you feel like you want to rank him low. If he's second and leading behind Hutchinson in every statistical categories. What are we doing, guys?
He's had 4 weeks outside of the top 24. And so,
hey, that happens.
No, it does. And tight end is such a shallow position. I value consistency more in the tight end position because of how shallow it is. But, we can talk about George Kittle. Honestly, we can talk about George Kittle all day. I do think the guy's a baller. After George Kittle, we had Trey McBride. Okay, maybe we won't talk too much about the next couple guys, but Trey McBride, I think that's worth talking about. Nobody had him in their top 10 at the beginning of the season. Trey McBride, since Zach Ertz has gone down, Trey McBride has been balling the last 3 weeks. He's been exceptionally good. And the quarterback, Kyler Murray, seems to like him.
He loves him.
Kyler Murray favored Zach Ertz in the offense last year. Zach Ertz isn't there. Hello, Trey McBride. I talked him up a few weeks ago. The guy's a great tight end. He was the number 1 tight end taken in the league 2 years ago. We have him collectively at number 5. Maybe we don't need to go too much into that, guys. Are you guys cool with us just moving on from that one?
Sure.
After that, okay, Dalton Kincaid, rookie tight end. We have him at number 6. Does anyone want to talk about that? Shed, you had him at 7. Olu, you had him at 8. Will had him at 7, and I had him at 5. I was the highest on him. Let me just weigh in on him. I'll just weigh in on him really quick why I think he should be this high. Dawson Knox is still gone. Even though I said something is going on in Buffalo, Josh Allen is still going to throw the rock. He's going to throw the rock. And Dalton Kincaid, he has done well the last couple weeks. I think he's become the second option in that offense. I think it's safe to say nobody trusts Gabe Davis. Like, nobody trusts Gabe Davis at this point.
No.
And Dalton Kincaid, oh my gosh, yeah. The last couple weeks, he's been a top 8 tight end the last 5 weeks. He's gotten 5 catches or more 5 weeks in a row. And 2 touchdowns in 5 games. I think Dalton Kincaid, in a shallow position, Dalton Kincaid is worthy of being ranked this high.
I'll just quickly say, I think it's a product of a lack of weapons, right? Who else is Allen going to throw it to? It's going to go to Diggs. James Cook will get some of that, and then it's going to be Kincaid. I think same thing as Laporta in Detroit. It's just a product of how many weapons they have or don't have, and that's probably why we had him ahead of the next guy who you're about to get into.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz. I'll just let Olu weigh on that. He's been waiting for this all night. He just wants to talk about Dalton Schultz. Go for it, Olu. We have him collectively at number 7, but Olu put him at number 4. That's probably the highest Dalton Schultz has ever been ranked in his life.
So
We're
talking about tight end performance moving forward in the season. I feel like as Steve Strauss, as in gaining stride, one of his trustees is Schultz, Dalton Schultz. He's been looking Justin Schultz's way in the last 4 games. He's been getting a lot of targets. He's been getting into the end zone. He's been targeting in the end zone. So he's someone that has surely become C.J. Stroud's safety blanket. It wasn't that way the first part of the season, which is expected because he was a rookie. He's now finding his groove. So now that he's in groove, he now uses Schultz as one of his trusted knights around the round table. So Dustin Schultz is one of those guys.
Yeah, and then we're just going to round up the top 10 here. At number 8, we had Jake Ferguson. Number 9, we had Cole Kmet. Number 10, we have Evan Ingram, the man I despise the most in the NFL.
Okay, wait. Time out. Everything. Why do we have Melvin Ingram in there? Who else had Melvin Ingram other than Shed? I mean,
because he's been consistent.
Yeah. The thing is too with Mark Andrews and also Dallas Goedert hurt. There's just the typical top guys are not all there, so that's how Ingram sneaks in.
If anybody other than Mr. Giants have Ingram on their roster,
bro, you got to remember, I despise Ingram.
I was the highest. I was the highest on Ingram. I have Ingram at number 5 because it's proven. Yes. For fantasy purposes, yes, he is. He's doing it.
Evan Ingram is the 3rd most targeted tight end in the NFL right now.
That's why.
Evan Ingram has 74 targets. He is the 3rd most targeted tight end in the NFL.
Wait, please don't tell me you have Ingram ahead of Kittle.
Look,
I have him right after Kittle.
I don't, but Evan Ingram has more catches. He has more targets. He has more catches than George Kittle.
Okay.
So I don't like the guy. He drops so many passes. He's soft. But, excuse me. I don't want to be disrespectful. He's not reliable. That's what I'll say. He's not reliable.
But the stats don't lie. The stats never lie, and he's up there.
So maybe not soft.
What about? Let me ask you guys this. What about? Here's a wild card. Taysom Hill.
See, look at this. I had Taysom Hill in my top 10 reluctantly, because I'm like, how can you count on this type of production? But Taysom Hill has done it, man. He's done everything except play tight end. And
right.
He's listed as a tight end.
He gets points for doing other things besides tight end. That's why he has points
as a tight end. Do we know that? We've just accepted it.
That's his official listed position, but you and Shed both had him in the top 10. He snuck in there because he does. He puts up the fantasy points.
He does
It's
other
that
things.
shallow a field. That's why.
Right.
You guys know that in Marcus Colston's rookie year, he was listed as a wide receiver and tight end his rookie year in the NFL.
Oh,
So
wow.
there were people who picked him up off of waivers because he's a big slot receiver. So there were people who picked him up off of waivers and were throwing him in their tight end position. I mean, hey, shout out to my boy Jack Chen. If you're even listening to this, I know you did it and you won that year. All right, guys, we got to move on. We've got to move on. Let's get to our last segment. Let's move on to our single game mock draft. If you're new, you'll love this. We love this. It's a 2-round snake draft. We draft from the Thursday night game, the primetime Thursday night game. All we draft is wide receivers, running backs, tight ends. Oh, that's it. No quarterbacks, no defenses, no kickers. 2 rounds. We do a snake draft. It's been really fun. We've been doing it since week 2. And guess what? In first place, it's still the king of Nigeria, the king of Africa, Olu at 265.1. But Shed is right on his tail because Olu had a terrible week last week. Jamar Chase let him down, and the guy from Princeton didn't record any stats.
He didn't play. He didn't play.
We talked Olu into playing him. But
gaining.
Olu's bias got the best of him. But Shed is only down by a point to Olu.
I got
momentum.
Shed has 263.9. I'm in third with 215.3. And Will is way in the back. He's way back there. Throw it back, Will. Will's in the back, dog.
Yeah.
This week's game, there's a lot of Thursday games. It's Thanksgiving. There is a Black Friday game. However, we chose to do our single game mock from the Thursday evening game. We're going to stay consistent. The San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. Many fantasy players. Will has the first pick of our draft, then myself, then Shed, then Olu. Then we'll snake it back around. Will, you're up first, brother.
This is my one chance to catch up. It couldn't have come on a better matchup. Give me the golden boy, Christian McCaffrey, number 1 overall pick.
You would. Oh,
I'm desperate, man. I just need something.
Who did you choose?
The only possible option, McCaffrey.
I think this pick is very easy, guys. There are so many good skill players on here. This is so much better than the week we were doing, like, Commanders and
Bears. It was like Bears and Commanders. Terrible.
Steelers, Titans. Like, this is a good one. And I think my pick needs to be obvious, guys. Brandon Ayuk. Give him to me.
Yeah.
I think the guy is balling right now, and I want Brandon Ayuk on my team. He's going to help me catch up. What you got, Shed? You're up.
Oh, man. Oh. I have a couple options here, a couple of upside, but let me go with, we just talked about this guy. Let me go with Kittle, right? So it's going to be
okay.
It's going to be boom or bust. Like he's been playing the last 4 games. He's been playing pretty well. Hope that kind of keeps up. Let's go Kittle here.
Wow. We call that a reach. No, I'm just playing.
I believe in 49ers offense more than I believe in Seattle's offense. And Geno.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
So,
and Geno may not play, right? There's a chance it's Drew Lock because Geno got destroyed by Aaron Donald. The most violent hit of the last 5 years, I would say. Definitely on a quarterback.
Yeah, did y'all ever hear that soundbite of when Aaron Donald?
Yes. And Geno goes, oh my God, throws it away.
Oh my gosh, he just throws it in the dirt.
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay.
All right, Olu, you have back-to-back here.
Let me see. Have you guys chosen Deebo Samuel yet?
No, we haven't.
How is he doing?
There goes your lead, Olu.
I know.
Is Deebo healthy right now? I can't even keep up.
I got mind control over Deebo.
All right. Let's go. I'll go with. Give me a second. Let me think.
Wait, is Deebo your first pick?
No. I'll go with DK.
Okay.
And I'll go with Walker.
No, what? Are we gonna let him do that? All right, Kenneth Walker.
I don't think he's playing, Olu.
He's not playing. Probably.
He has an
he's kind of
oblique injury.
He's week to week.
Oh Lord. Okay. All right.
Well, actually, hold on. Is he week to week?
I'll just go. I'll just keep him on. He was not playing.
He's doubtful. Okay, Olu. He's doubtful for now.
Doubtful.
Okay, doubtful.
Thursday night game.
Doubtful means out.
He did not practice today. Today is Tuesday. The game is in 2 days. He did not practice today.
Okay, so he's out. Okay, so let's go with Charbonnet.
We're good friends, Olu. We're good friends. We should have let you just pick an injured player.
We should have let you pick Debo and Kenneth Walker. Y'all remember the week we didn't pick David Montgomery and the man scored 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, terrible. You gotta get the accurate injury reports right before.
I'll go with you know what? I'll do this. Oh Lord. Okay. How good is that? Good? Is Cabernet good? Is it good?
He's good. He's been good.
He's terrible. You don't want him.
All right. I'll go with Zach Cabernet and what's his name?
DK.
Metcalf.
DK.
All right.
Yeah.
DK, right?
Yeah. Got it.
I feel fine about this.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't think he'd be here. Give me Debo.
Yeah, that's a good you pick.
Yeah, I wouldn't think he would be here.
That's a great
player.
You.
There goes the lead.
Oh, Shed's gonna take the lead here. He has Kittle and Debo, and he's only losing by 1.2 points. Yeah, he's gonna be in first place.
What are you saying about Olu's picks? Will?
I'm saying Charbonnet is a bit of a reach.
Why are you disrespecting the king?
The king.
Guys, I'm leading, guys. Like, what in the world?
This is not an easy pick, man. I'm not going to lie.
Respect your stat leader. Come on, guys.
So my next pick is actually a really difficult pick to make.
It is.
I know. I'm between Tyler Lockett and JSN. I mean, it's obvious which two I'm between.
Tyler Lockett. We know what JSN does.
Yeah, you're a hater.
So I'd go with Lockett because
why should I do what you want? You're not. Why would I listen to the guy who's trying to beat me? No, Lockett gets 0 yards after the catch. Lockett catches the ball and falls down.
Kneels.
It's like he's scared to get hit. Like
flag football. Pull his flag.
Not even flag football. But you know what? Maybe I should. My green screen just fell down.
Yep, it's falling down.
Let's just go with Tyler Lockett. Why not? Let's just take Lockett.
All right. As I make this last pick, I have to defend my man Lockett real quick because you know who the other receiver is who would catch and immediately fall down?
I do.
Reggie Wayne?
Marvin Harrison.
Yeah,
Harrison. To the point where he had that one touchdown where he caught it and fell down. No one touched him.
No one touched him.
Got up and ran in for a touchdown.
That was against the Broncos.
That was against the Broncos.
I think it was a playoff game. I think it was a playoff game.
I think you're right. It was with Peyton Manning.
It was a Saturday afternoon playoff game against the Broncos. I remember that.
It was wild. That was amazing. All right. Well, I'm going with JSN to round it out. Let's say this is going to be the JSN breakout game against the best defense in the NFL. It's
why not?
Hail Mary for me. Hail Mary.
Why not? So to round out our mock draft, there was a lot of skill players to choose from. Will has Christian McCaffrey and JSN, the two guys who have just simple letters for their names, CMC and JSN. I'm sitting with Brandon Ayuk and Tyler Lockett. Love it. Shed has George Kittle and Debo Samuel. And Olu loves his team. Give him DK Metcalf and Zach Charbonnet. The two strongest guys out there. But that concludes our episode. We will be back next week with episode 12 for you. Please stick with us. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. As always, your host, Shed, Olu, Will, and Matt. We will see you next week. Have a good one. Peace.